All right, in this video, we're going to show you how to cut, prime, and glue System 636 pipe. Let's get into this. All right, everyone, welcome to the channel. My name's Clayton. On this channel, we're striving to save you money and keep you informed on all the proper plumbing practices. Let's get into this video. All right, so we're not going to show you guys how to do the measurements and allow for the fitting allowance, but I am going to show you how to cut this pipe. What you want to do is you make sure that you cut this pipe nice and square, and you don't want to use a blade if you're going to be using a sawzall like I am here. You don't want to be using a blade that's going to be chipping away at the System 636 itself. So either a nice fine hacksaw blade works great. I have a blade that I use. It's somewhat of an aggressive blade, but it doesn't chip away at the System 636 pipe here. So let me show you how that's done. So let's say we have our measurement wherever that is. I'll just put my thumb here. Now this is for more advanced people that are somewhat used to using a hacksaw, or sorry, a sawzall for cutting pipe. So you want to be very careful if you are new to this. So what I use is I use this front part of the sawzall. As you can see right there, it's nice and square to the blade. So I'll keep pressure against the pipe, and that will allow the cut to be nice and straight. Let me show you how that's done. So all I did there is I just applied pressure to the front of the sawzall here, and I just let the sawzall do the work. I didn't push down at all. I just let the blade cut through the pipe and do the work for me. All right, so now we're going to get into the priming. So the purpose of primer is to begin the chemical reaction that softens PVC and provide an even prepared surface for the solvent cement. As you may know, PVC joints are not glued together exactly, but they are fused through a chemical change. The softer the outer layer of the PVC, the better it will cement in your joint. Thank you. I couldn't remember all that. So we know that we need to create a nice even layer of primer to soften this plastic here so that it can make a good connection, or what do you call that? Sorry. A good joint, good cement joint. All right, so what we're going to do here, so I'll move this off to the side. Now when you pull your brush out of your can, I like to give it a little wiggle in there, and I clean as much of there as possible so that it's not dripping when I pull it out. This purple primer that we have to use it. It's code in Canada, or in Alberta, sorry. I know there's some parts in Canada where you can get away with the clear primer or the one-step glue that has the primer built in it. But here we have to use this purple primer. So what I like to do is I just like to move in a circular motion, and I'll just keep going. As you can see, this pipe is a little dirty. So I'll just keep moving into a circular motion. Now, you notice the how much primer I'm putting on is a little bit more than what the joint is, what the fitting allowance is. And the reason why I'm doing that is because the inspectors here like to see the purple primer. And the other reason why I'm doing that is because when I put my fitting onto the joint here, onto the pipe, I can gauge and I know how far my fitting is and that it's not going to pop out. And I'll show you what I mean by that. And the other thing is, you don't want to let this primer sit for too long. So you don't want to prime it, wait 5 minutes, and then glue it together. Try to prime it within a minute or so. Then you want to make sure that you apply your cement. So we'll do the same with the fitting. And I just kind of keep moving and turning and turning. And what I'm doing is I'm just allowing the primer to kind of set into the plastic and do its work. So if you just do one wrap and leave it, I find it doesn't soften, it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. But if you work the primer in just a little bit, it'll soften that joint nicely. Now when I'm done with the primer, because this stuff is really messy, I always make sure that I close the lid, put it off to the side. Now the next step here is we're going to put the cement and we're going to bond these two together. So what I'll do, same thing, I'll clean my brush, I don't want to have glue spilling everywhere. Try to keep it as neat and clean as possible, especially when you're working in a mechanical room and you know, you're above the boiler or furnace, or look at that, I'm dripping already, furnace or hot water tank or whatever, or even the floor. You'll just make a mess everywhere, and it doesn't look good when you leave. So this, I'll do the same thing. I'll spin, spin, spin. I'll get a good layer of the cement inside of the joint. I'll dip my glue back in here, sorry, my cement back in here. We'll wrap this nicely just like this. And sometimes I'll just do the inside just a little bit, just to create a nice seal. Nice even layer of glue all around the whole joint. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to just push the fitting in, and as you're pushing it in, you give it about 1/4 to 1/8 turn. You could even go a little more. And what that's doing is that's just spreading the glue inside of the joint and making sure that the hole around the pipe and the fitting is getting a good amount of glue and that it's going to bond properly together. Now, if I was just to let this go, it would start popping out on me. So what I like to do is I like to, once I've glued it and I've turned it, I just hold it for about 20 to 30 seconds, okay? And if you don't do that, you'll find the fitting will start coming off of the pipe, and you don't want that. And that's another good reason why you want to prime right to the edge, just past the fitting allowance, is because then it allows you kind of gauge to see if the fitting has pushed out. Now, one thing you'll find is if you do not spin the pipe and you just push the fitting onto the pipe and you don't spin it, you'll find right away, as soon as you let go, that fitting will just want to pop off the pipe. Okay, so now that that's sat for a little bit, and you can see inside, it's got a good amount of glue all the way around. I'm very confident in this joint here. And I'll just let it sit for, you know, another 30 more seconds. I find if you just try to wipe it off right away, it just kind of spreads everywhere and it doesn't look very good. So I'd say that's about a minute or so. So now when I wipe, I'll put the whole rag in my hand like this, and I'll grab my thumb, and I just put my thumb against the joint here, and then I just turn, 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 and then I'll get rid of that, and then I'll wipe all of the excess glue away. This stuff is really tricky to work with, but as you can see there, we have a nice joint. You can still see a little bit of the primer, nice and clean. If you look inside, you can see there's cement all inside there. We call it glue, but the proper term is cement. So that's why I'll say glue because I'm just so used to saying glue. The proper term is cement because the joint is actually fused together. It's not glued together. So, all right, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Leave us a comment if you got any questions or concerns, and I will see you on the next one.